All right. So good morning. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. I had to, at the last second, restart my computer and it, of course, didn't go on as quickly as I wanted it to. So welcome back. Today is November 3rd, and thanks for being at our productivity coaching meeting today. Lots of stuff to cover. Hopefully, if you saw the email, we're going to talk about disclosures today. We haven't talked about them in a long time. In fact, many of you weren't even here the last time we spoke about them. So I thought it was time. So we will deal with that a lot. And even if you haven't had a transaction, it's just good information. I did send out handouts last night. I know they were late, but when you get a chance, you might want to print them, or if you already have, take notes on them, because this is a really important part of our what we do as realtors. We don't get to touch on it as much as we probably should. So we are going to cover that today. Before I begin let's see, just a couple reminders. Last week we announced that Beth is the success coach. Beth Logue is now the success coach for Stockton. So she is your first point of contact to all your Stockton agents. Okay. And just as a reminder, Renee Saines is the Tracy point of contact. Danny Betancourt is the Manteca point of contact. Krista Martin is the Lodi point of contact. And then I'm the backup to them. So if you can't reach them, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you too, but they are your first point of contact. And we've had a busy week again. Let's see, we had a couple closings. Let me see if she's here. Where are you? Yeah, she's not showing her face, but I want to congratulate Audrey. She got her first escrow closed yesterday. So yay, Audrey.
Thank you.
Yay, good job.
Thank you.
Worked really hard on that. So good for you. I'm happy for you.
Nice job.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you have another one, new listing going on soon. And
yes.
And so you know, congratulations. You have another new listing. I know you still have another listing out there you're trying to get sold. So maybe you might want to share that address, and maybe people may want to promote that for you. The other listing, if you would like to do that.
Recording in progress.
Yes, I would. I will.
Okay.
If
you don't mind, maybe put the address in the chat box.
That's okay. I'll do that right now.
Remember, we all have access to campaigns. You can run a $10 campaign and maybe run an ad on Audrey's listing and help her out and get this property sold, and maybe get yourself a client. She's representing the seller. Maybe you can represent the buyer. What an opportunity, right? I have another one too. I'll put in the chat. One of our Modesto agents took a listing, and it hasn't had a lot of activity. So I will put the address in there as well, so that maybe I hear someone. So
it's me. I have an echo.
Okay, let me mute you.
There we go.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and give you that other address before I forget, just because I'll be talking and I'll forget. And so that address, if anyone is interested, is 4117 La Marca, LAMARCKA Avenue in Modesto. And it is also hopefully going to get a price reduction today, but check it out. It might be another property you might want to go ahead and advertise. Put it on. Already have permission from the agent, and he just wants to get it sold. So please keep that in mind. Let's see, who else? Michael Linville had a closing. So congratulations, Michael. He's been pretty hot and getting a new listing, it sounds like, as well. So good for you, Michael. Kim Haynes, her new listing just went live. So check that one out. Kim, what's the address on that again?
It's 613 Tahoe Street in Manteca.
Okay, spell the last name of the street.
Tahoe.
Tahoe.
Yeah, 613 Tahoe.
Okay, there's another opportunity, you guys. Check it out. Maybe you have a buyer for that, 613 Tahoe Street. Kim, do you mind if people advertise your listing on your?
No, not at all.
Okay, you guys, there's 3 listings right there. If you don't know what to be marketing, we just gave you 3 addresses. Audrey's is in the chat, and take advantage. It's not just taking advantage, it's helping these agents out with getting the word out about these listings. You can publish a real short, easy campaign. You can spend very little money. Sometimes people think, should I be buying leads? No, you should not be buying leads. You could be spending $10 or $15 or $20 and doing campaigns and marketing yourself and getting leads for very little money. So please take advantage of the opportunity.
Barbara, excuse
yes,
me.
Can you please repeat the address for the listing in Modesto?
4117, maybe someone can type it for me. 4117 La Marca, it's LAMARCKA Avenue.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. And then let's see, Chris Irvine, also his contract got into escrow, his listing got into escrow. So great job, Chris. And I don't know if I missed anyone, hopefully I didn't, but people are, getting things done out there. I've heard of 3 other agents that are coming up with new listings, not yet there, not yet signed. So keep working at it. It will happen if you work hard. And if you do your business, you have to run your business. Don't let your business run you. You need to run your business. Okay. Reminder again, and I'm sorry I keep bringing this up, but I don't want you to get lost in the shuffle here. More people, sorry. Let's see. RPA class, time's running out. Today's November 3rd. We are told that the new RPA will be coming out in December. If you have not had the opportunity to take an RPA class on the new RPA, please take that opportunity. After they roll it out, I'm told they're going to do classes, but on segments of it, not the whole RPA. So it wouldn't hurt you to take the whole RPA class now and then do some segments for refresh. And hopefully in January, we'll also do something, but we don't know it yet either. I've never used it. I've only taken the class myself, so I'm not going to try to teach it in December. First time I will probably attempt to teach it will be January, if not February. So please do your due diligence and learn what your contracts are going to be about. Reminder, Christmas parties the 3rd. If you haven't signed up, time's running short on that because they're going to open up to the other affiliates and you want to take advantage. I meant to mention this last week. There's holiday pies, freezers that are going to be going into all the offices. And in those freezers are holiday pies that you could send out an information to, maybe if some of you have had clients or maybe you already have clients, and you could invite them to come to your office and pick up a holiday pie. You will be billed $10 for that pie. Not that bad. I mean, if I feel like buying a pie, they're like 16, 21 at all the farmers markets. So $10. Yes, they're frozen, but then they get to warm them up in their own oven and they're smelling really great, right? So something to think about. I'll post it. One of our agents in the Modesto office, Ashley Burgess, has created this opportunity, and consequently these freezers will be in the offices. And she also sent out an email several weeks back. I'll resend that to you, but it's, sometimes people say, what do I buy my clients? Well, from my opinion, if you haven't made a lot of money, I don't want you to go out and spend a lot of money, but $10, you might be able to swing that. Or a couple $10, couple pies, send them to the people you love, the people maybe you really want to have have them use you as your realtor. Doesn't hurt, or just holiday, being holiday friendly. So the boot camp is coming up next week, November 18th and November 19th, 8:30 to 12:30. I've sent a notice out. Some of you have already signed up. If you haven't, you do need to sign up by Tuesday of that week, because it's too hard for me to go back and try to get you the information out to you if you have not signed up. So if you're thinking about it, please sign up. I'd rather send you the information and then you maybe can't show up for whatever reason. Hopefully you already have it in your calendar, November 18th and 19th, 8:30 to 12:30. Okay. And then Arthur has a book club tonight, right? Arthur, do you want to share that?
Yeah, the book club tonight, of course, you'll be able to do it on Zoom, but if you can show up to the office, I have lots of books that we'll be providing to people that don't have the book. And then we'll just start going through chapter by chapter and learning, implementing the systems and going forward.
And which book is it you're doing, Arthur?
The One Thing.
The One Thing. It's a very good book. And it also there's a podcast. If any of you are in the car driving, I listen to the podcast a lot as well on The One Thing. Very interesting and good tools to use in your business and in your life. One other announcement before I forget. Next week, we are going to do this meeting live in Manteca. And it's going to be a hybrid. So it'll be a live in Manteca. The first half will be our regular meeting. The second half, we do have a speaker coming in. New York Life. And yes, he's going to probably be promoting his products, but it's something you may want to take advantage of and listen to. Once you get going in this business, there's another step to it. You have to think about, well, I can't just go and blow my money. What do I do with it? right? So this is an opportunity for you to hear what you may consider doing with your money once you start getting more involved with your business. So it will be next Wednesday at the Manteca office. And like I said, we'll start our regular meeting at 10:30. There will not be script next week as a result. And then that he will start speaking at 11, and they are bringing lunch. So if you want to come and join us, and there will be food as well. Okay, it's always a good draw. So I think that's it on announcements. I wanted to make sure I threw that one in as well. I did want to cover really quickly. It's the first of the month, so I wanted to just go over a few numbers. So we'll go ahead and start with Mountain House. Inventory has decreased to 34. So, whoa, what's happening in Mountain House? Because remember, in January, there were 2 listings, I think, in Mountain House, and then it went up and it really spiked probably in August. And now it's down to 34. So those of you in Mountain House or Tracy, or even here, maybe you want to start thinking about targeting some of those neighborhoods and getting that going again. They don't anticipate that this market is going to stop, the one we're currently in. It's just kind of slowed down a little bit. They're calling it seasonality right now. You know, the holidays are coming, the weather is changing, all of that kind of ties into what happens in our marketplace. We did not really experience that in 2020, last year. But right now they are saying we are experiencing a little bit of seasonality. But be there for people, let them know that you are a realtor. So in Mountain House, inventory decreased to 34, median list price is 825,182, 24 days on market. Tracy, inventory is increased to 97, median list price is 735 with 28 days on market. And it says that prices have recently flattened in Tracy. Recently flattened at 735. That's not too bad if you own a house in Tracy. Inventory in Lathrop has increased to 25, average days on market 29, median list price is 589. And here's what this one says: more sales demand and fewer homes listed have contributed to a relatively long run of increasing prices. The market continues to get hotter. Another great market to target, Lathrop. Lots of houses there, lots, not just the Mossdale area, but the other side of Lathrop as well. Ripon, inventories increased to 23. Strong sellers market. Market's been cooling a little bit over time and the prices have plateaued, but the median list price is 685 with average days on market of 51. Salida, inventory has decreased to 10. That's another target market, you guys. Only 10 houses in it on inventory. Strong sellers market and median price of 457.5, 42 days on market. It says if the market heats up, prices are likely to resume an upward climb. So if you have any clients in Salida, get them off the fence and get them into contract. Modesto, inventories increased to 198. List price of 479,999. Average days on market 50. Still a very strong seller's market. Stockton. So Stockton is less than Modesto this month. 448 is the list price. Median list price, average days on market is 44. Let's see, inventories held steady at around 353. So with lots of houses on the market in Stockton, but it's still a strong seller's market. So not even close to what it could be. So it does say the prices have recently flattened. I do see more agents calling me back. I've shown a few houses over the last couple of weeks. I've had this one client that's wanted to buy for the whole summer and he just couldn't find anything. And then he backed out just like a lot of our clients did. And now he's back. So I am still helping him. But what I have noticed is agents are now calling me and saying, hey, did you like the house? Or are you going to give us an offer? Where before they weren't even answering my phone when I was trying to call them to see if the house was still available. So see the switch. So it's a good time if you had any buyers that were on the fence or backed off because it was just too difficult to find a home and they were getting rejected. Now's a good time to get them back into the game. So let's see. Now we're at Lodi. Inventory around 70. Market's been cooling over time, still a strong seller's market, 591, 475, average days on market 45. So 70 is pretty good for Lodi. Sometimes they've had very little they traditionally don't have a lot of homes on the market. And so 70 is actually a really pretty good high number for Lodi, I think. Galt, inventories increased to 35. Median list price $594, average days on market 40, and it's still a strong seller's market. And last but not least, I did include Valley Springs because Chris had a listing in Valley Springs, went pending, and I want to say 4 or 5 days. Let's see, listed median list price of $599, $450, 36 days on market. Inventory has increased to 52, still strong seller. So basically the message pretty much all the way across the board was it's still a strong seller's market. Here's what's going to happen though. You may have noticed, I'm actually, you can't see, but I'm kind of wearing like a little turtleneck right now. It's getting a little colder. We've turned our heater on a little bit. Had soup last night. Things are changing, right? So as a result, and guess what happens Saturday? The daylight savings time thing happens, right? We fall back. People are going to start hibernating more and more. Your competitive agents the people you're competing against out there are going to hibernate more and more. So what do you have to do? You have to not hibernate. You have to still keep going out there. You still have to keep having the open houses, rain or shine. You have to keep calling your clients, your potential clients, your leads, follow up. You still need to keep marketing. Don't shut down because it's getting cold. Okay. Because if you think about it, anybody you start talking to now, and maybe you get them into contract in the next 30 days, we're then going to be at December 3rd. So let's just say December 3rd, and then they write an offer and they are in escrow for 20 to 25 to 30 days. You're going to be either at the end of the December or right into early January. Wouldn't it be great to start January with an escrow and a check?
Yep.
It's always my favorite way to start January. There you go, Danny. Danny, I want to say Danny closed, I think, 2 or 3 deals last week on the same day. Was it 2 or 3, Danny?
4.
4. Oh my God. Can you believe that? I mean, look. So here's what happens too. Danny has been working her butt off. She's helping all the Modesto agents, and consequently, her business has just gone through the roof. So it's kind of like when you're in action, things happen. So, those of you who have not been in action, has anything happened?
Nope.
Okay. It kind of, I know it's weird and it sounds like phenomenal and all that, but it really does. I've seen this over the years. It's happened to me over the years. When I am busier, things are happening for me. When I chill, I check out or for whatever reason, well, nothing happens. So be busy, call your clients, call your sphere of influence, call your kids, friends, parents, call whoever you know. Talk to the people at the gym. Start wearing Keller Williams clothes if you go to the gym every day. Let people know you are in the business of real estate because that is going to help you. I promise you it will help. Okay. Being inactive will not. Okay. So now we're going to go and let's see, get into, unless anyone has any questions, actually. Anybody? Anything? And you know what? I didn't do a recap. So let me do one recap. Yes, Michael.
Is there any news on the new Modesto office?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's going to be in. I saw something come across my desktop yesterday. I think it was a flyer there where we were editing. I believe it's going to be ready December 1st. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you the address because I don't know it. I heard it's the corner of Coffee and something. I don't know anymore. But when I do know, I'll go ahead. I mean, a flyer should be coming out like maybe today or tomorrow, because we were reviewing one yesterday. Yeah. So yes, those of you who are going to be close to Modesto, you'll have a Modesto office very soon. Okay. So in the meanwhile, you're very welcome to be at the Manteca office or the Tracy or the Lodi or the Stockton. You guys, we have beautiful offices. We really do. Because I've been getting out into the wild again, I've been at these offices and we're very fortunate. They're all very nice and everyone in there is nice. I had to lead a meeting for Michele on Monday because she had an family emergency. And there were, I think, 17 of us there physically present at the meeting. If maybe you were on camera, there were only about 30 on the Zoom. And if you weren't there, you missed a great meeting. We had a speaker, his name was Ricky O'Neill from, I think, the Roseville office, and just very down to earth and just shared a lot of tips and ideas on how to generate business and how to treat your clients, how to have events for your clients, even in today's arena. So I'm sure that will be posted as soon as they can, if they haven't posted it yet, but that would be really worth listening to. He had some really great information to share. Very successful. And you know, we're lucky. Michele brings in really good speakers that can talk to us about their business, and we can pull nuggets out of what they share and maybe implement them in our own business. Okay. But yes, thank you for that question, Michael. I'm seeing some, let's see, chats. Let me just make sure there's nothing I have to, that's right, Danny, grind and hustle. Let's see. Okay. Oh, you did not get any disclosure handouts. So I sent did everyone else get disclosure handouts?
Yes.
I did.
They're in the email. Micheline, if you didn't, are you getting my emails? That was Micheline that asked that question. So maybe not. But I'll double check and resend. Maybe something happened. And I know, Michael, you didn't. I apologize. So Michael, you'll get them. Michael's, you've probably seen disclosures a lot more than some people now that you've had a couple deals going on. But here's disclosures. They're a real big part of our business. And so I'm going to go ahead and share, and we will talk about some of them right now. Let me just turn this off really fast. Okay. So. Danny, you want to talk for a minute and tell, or no, actually, Arthur, you have, while I'm doing this, Arthur, tomorrow is, you're going to do the twilight session, I believe.
Yes, the twilight session this Thursday is going to be, this is where we've integrated the twilight session with command class. So I'll be hosting command, the Thursday session, and we're going to teach everything about command as far as we can get for this week's session. And then, of course, the following week, Danny will take over and teach what she's got scheduled to teach that week.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, so we're trying to make, it seems like there might be too many meetings happening. So we took a step back and we reviewed how we could do this so it's a win-win for everyone. And so the way we're going to run it now is every other week. I'm sorry, my computer's not agreeing with me right now. Every other week will be either Danny or Arthur on the twilight session. So that way you get 2 weeks of command in the evening, and you get 2 weeks of Danny teaching whichever topics we are addressing that at that time. So please continue to participate. The other part of that is, you may have noticed that you will be registering now. I think Arthur sent out a reminder. So it's trying to give me something I don't want. So bear with me, you guys. I don't know why my computer's doing this.
So I'm just going to piggyback on that
Thank
real
you.
quick. I always like to pour into you guys, and everybody has different needs in their business because everybody's at different levels in their business. But what really helps is, you know, when I have topics that you guys email to me, like, Danny, I'd really like to pour into this right now. And when I see that there's a common struggle that you all are going through, then that's the great way for us to plug in, you know. So the twilight sessions are really to help you guys through your struggles, through your business, to help streamline how you can have a foundational, consistent, and stable business. And so please email me, send me the link and say, Danny, I'm struggling with this. This is what I'd really like to see this in the twilight sessions. You know, because in that way I know how to really pour into you all. So please send me your suggestions.
And that's great, because it, you know, we don't set up schedules like months in advance, because different things happen in our business, as you've probably already noticed. And so we like to make it kind of time friendly. You know, whatever is going on, we want to kind of address it. Or if we see a continuous problem, or people are having the same question coming up, it's like, oh, maybe we need to talk about this. Consequently, that's why we're going to talk about disclosures today. Because I realized, you know, yeah, I hadn't spoken about these in a long time, and they are a topic that we all need to be familiar with. So where disclosures come in is, if you have a listing, your seller is going to fill out all these forms that are called the seller's disclosure forms. And then the buyer, your seller will sign them, you will sign them, and then they will be sent to the buyer's agent, and then the buyer and the buyer's agent will sign them as well. And the key to that is, you, as the agent of the seller, need to make sure that your seller completes the documents as thoroughly as possible. The other part of it, and some of you may have heard this in other classes, is you need to share this little phrase: disclose, disclose, disclose. Okay, because they're going to say, well, what do I say? And you say disclose, disclose, disclose. So memorize those words, okay? Because this is their responsibility as sellers. So can you guys now see my car.org?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry it took a minute because it just was not cooperating. But so I did send these out, and these are the common ones. And actually, I was going to show you one other thing too, but I'll show it to you in just a few minutes. What I wanted to start with, so if you have it on your computer or if you've printed it out, we're going to start with the one that says Disclosure Information Advisory. So the other thing about disclosures, you'll see that it says at the top, it has the title, and then it says for sellers. And then it also says they always have the date, the most recent date of the update on the disclosure. For instance, this one was 6/20. And honestly, I don't remember seeing it much before that. This has not always been around in my business. So it's been in the last year or two, and possibly just since June of 2020. But what I want to do is so I was looking at it and I thought, gee, I probably haven't looked at that as thoroughly as I should have either. I just was including it with my sellers. But and I'm going to be honest, I try to be very honest in these classes with you. I never recognized it was 3 pages. So I don't know if that happened then or if it's been all along. I thought it was a 1-pager. So it's like, lo and behold, Barbara didn't read it very well herself. So I want y'all to read them. Barbara needs to read them all too. But one thing is important, and this is why I'm starting with it. And I'm just going to read the first paragraph. It says, all sellers in California are required to provide various disclosures in real property transactions. Among the disclosure requirements, sellers have an affirmative duty to disclose to buyers all material conditions, defects, and/or issues known to them that might impact the value or desirability of the property. Failing to provide these disclosures may lead to a claim or a lawsuit against you, which can be very costly and time-consuming. As a seller, you may be required to fill out one or more of the following, and we're going to cover the rest of those. But this is probably what you should all take to your listings, I believe, because this is a heads up. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for meeting with me. I'm going to take your listing, sign the contract, all that part, right? In addition to that, I'm going to give you, I want to let you know you're going to be signing disclosures as part of the sale of your home. I've included this one here so that you understand what your responsibilities are. This is why they created this document. It's to let the sellers know their responsibilities. And basically it's a 3-page of disclose, disclose, disclose. Okay. So I want y'all to take a look at it and read it carefully, because you're going to have your sellers sign this. And I honestly believe that you should include this in your listing packet. And I think some of the things I've sent out over the last several months have included this, but just in case it fell off, I want you, and maybe the success coaches haven't used it. I'm telling you, you should include this in your listing packet now. Okay. It's called the DIA, and you'll hear me refer to them all by acronym, because it's just after a while, you just start using them. And I know pretty much all of them now, but it does tell you, it does talk about the various disclosures that they're going to be filling out and at length, and what their responsibilities are, and see who's signing it. Only the seller. Okay. So this is only for the seller, and that's why it should be at the listing appointment. So include this in your listing packet. Do you have a question, Danny?
Well, actually, I was just going to piggyback a little bit, Barbara, is that I do incorporate that. I actually take my listing agreement, the DIA, and with my listing package. And then I also print out the SPQ and TDS, and I leave it there with them to fill out. So when I disclose this, I'm also disclosing those two to fill out at the same time. So I incorporated the SPQ and the TDS in my listing package with the DIA. So it just kind of all made sense to the sellers right then and there.
I think that's perfect. In fact, so that's the next document we're going to talk about, is called the SPQ. So let me go there, because there's three disclosures that are really tedious that need to be completed during a sale. One of them is this one, the SPQ, seller property questionnaire. The other one is the real estate transfer disclosure statement. And the third one is the AVID, and that's the one you complete. So if you are going to a listing, I think it would also behoove you to take your AVID with you, a form, and fill it out so that you can walk, because you're going to go walk around the house anyway, right? You're going to say, can I see your house? Yes, of course. So you're going to walk around the house, and it wouldn't hurt to walk around with the AVID. Take a paper one with you. I usually use a clipboard, and fill it out as you're writing down what's in this house. And that way you already have it prepared. because that is time sensitive. And if you have it done then, you don't have to worry about doing it 2 weeks from then or whatever, when it goes into contract. You have it, you
Right.
can actually put it in your listing. Okay, so we're going to now cover the SPQ, which is the Seller Property Questionnaire. So let me open that up.
Question.
You'll see when you're, so this one is one that was sent DocuSign. And so some of what, like Danny just said, is a lot of, over the last almost 2 years, a lot of what we all did was we just sent all this electronically, right? But Danny, it sounds like you've been sitting in front of your clients, correct?
Yeah, and when I do as part of my closing, because then it just shows how I'm handling everything up front. Because I also talk about doing inspections up front too.
Good,
And
good.
that alleviates a lot of headaches throughout it just alleviates a lot of questions and concerns in the transaction if
Yeah.
it's just done up front.
I agree. And it makes her look more professional. So these are all just little tips you can all start implementing in your business. Audrey, I see your hands up.
So I've got a non-computerized seller right now, so I've had to print all these up. Can I highlight where they need to sign? Is that okay?
So that's a really good question. So, I've done this for many, many years. So over the years, honestly, I've always lightly highlighted the initials. I've had one person tell me, oh, you really shouldn't do that. But you know what? I ignored it. I still do it.
Okay.
Because I've also worked with a lot of elderly clients and maybe they don't see so well. And I want to make it very clear because I don't want to be there for 4 hours trying to show them where they have to sign. So
Exactly.
I do lightly highlight. I don't make a big old smudge. I just do a little light one so they can see
Right.
it. Those
Okay.
work as well. Danny's showing you those little flyer. What do they call? I forgot.
Sign here tabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
And the,
Right.
the only reason is because coming from a contract world, it can be construed when you highlight that you're guiding them.
Yeah.
To
That's what I've
answer.
heard.
But we are.
And
Right.
exactly. So to alleviate that, I have tons of them. And you can get them from your title companies, guys. Utilize your title company. Get their little swag stuff that always has little sign here stuff.
That's a great idea. Ask your title rep, hey, do you have any of these little sign here, little tabs that you can hand out or provide me? Yeah, use them,
Okay.
guys. We give them a lot of money. When we direct our clients to them, they make a lot of money. So that's why they can't really give us a lot of things, but they can give us their swag, like Danny said. So it doesn't hurt to ask. So let's look at the Seller Property Questionnaire now. And what I want you to make sure you do is that you guys take the time to read what they say. I'm not going to bore you to death and read every word on these documents, but it is important. They're giving directions here. And you as the professional have to be able to guide your clients. So what I just commented on was the fact that Danny mentioned that she was in front of her clients. Well, that's happening more and more now. For last 2 years, a lot of us didn't do that. We were sending everything electronically, and some of you have come in the last 2 years, so you haven't sat in front of your clients. Well, as we continue to open up and hopefully continue back to a more normalized type of business environment, you're going to be sitting in front of your clients. So they're going to ask you questions. You didn't get that when you were sending it over electronically or your TC was. But now when you're in front of them, they're going to ask you, why am I signing this? What is it? What do I do? So if you don't know what it says and you're sitting there in front of them, you're not going to look very professional. So consequently, you need to read these, highlight them and know what you should know on them so that you can answer. So on this one, the page that usually catches people, and I always like, if I'm sitting in front of a client and I'm explaining that they need to go through this and fill it out to the best of their abilities, the thing I usually touch on is 5A. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you'll notice one of the questions on here is, within the last 3 years, has there been the death of an occupant upon your property? They need to answer that. So let's just say they said yes. Okay. So what is it going to let me? It's not going to let me, but I would mark the box yes. And then you have to go down to where the lines are and you have to identify 5A. Previous seller died of natural causes, whatever the situation was, right? So you do have to identify the number like 5A and what's your response, why you marked a yes. So if your client, you're with your client and they answered yes to any of these questions and then they didn't fill in the blanks here, it's not complete. So
Okay.
now it's up to you to back your client up and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you forgot to identify why you marked a yes. You do have to describe why it says yes. Okay, so be very careful of that. I've had to send these back lots to my clients and go, you forgot to fill something out, and show them what they forgot, because otherwise it's not complete. So other questions on here, as we keep scrolling, you'll see this one too. This is another biggie. Insurance claims affecting the property within the past 5 years. Ask that question. You might call that one out to them because they may have forgotten that 4.5 years ago, they had a flood in their laundry room and they had to bring in, had to have remediation and they had to call their insurance company. They may have forgotten, but the insurance company didn't. And when the buyer goes to apply for their insurance, it's going to pop up and they're going to go, well, no one told us, right? So it's another thing you really kind of want to bring to their attention and make sure that they fill it out correctly. Okay. So those are the two of the biggies, I think, on there. Then we go to this page, and this is one where I always see things that are not completed correctly. Repairs and alterations. You've had a client, you went to see their home, and they've told you, oh yeah, we updated the kitchen 3 years ago, and we put in new flooring in the living room, and we just painted over the weekend. The whole downstairs of the house has just been painted. And then they fill this out and they just put no. Or where it says any alterations, modifications, replacements, improvements, remodeling, or material repairs on the property. And they put no. Well, guys, you got to make sure it's consistent. If they'd already given you this laundry list of all the things they did because they want their home to be listed at a high price, and then they put a no, that's not being consistent. So you need to gently call them out on that and then make sure that everything is consistent. Okay. And again, they need to address what it is. And if they don't have enough room to fill it out here, there's another page we can add on. So again, please read through this, understand what that all says. It even says ongoing or recurring maintenance on the property, like pest control. If they have someone come out every other month or every month, then they need to say, yeah, I can't even think of the name of the company. Delk comes out every month. Okay. They need to note that on there. Then we come down here, talks about their appliances. Yeah, I'm not going to read through it, but again, make sure they answer this. Excuse me. Another one I want to call out is this one: pets, animals, and pests. Pets on the property. You know that when you walked in, Fluffy brushed by you and ran under the bed, and then they didn't put that they have a cat in the house. They need to put it, because what if I am highly allergic to cats and I walk in, right? Or I buy the house, better yet, worse yet, I buy the house, I'm highly allergic to cats. And all that dander and all that fluff is going somewhere. So it's probably up in the vents and in the ducting. So you do need to make sure that they address that. Or if they've had animals in the house or outside the house, but they do need to address what it is and just explain it. The other one I've seen is about smoking. Some people smoke in their home. Maybe they painted it and redid the carpet, and now you can just barely smell it, but they did smoke in their home. They need to mark that, okay? Or they smoke out on the porch. They need to mark it because you saw the cigarette butts when you walked in a can. I mean, all these little things, you guys, make sure they're consistent. So you can go through all of them. There's a lot of information on here. Some of them will not apply. For instance, if it's a home that's a regular single family residence, one of these talks about condos. Well, clearly it doesn't apply. So they're just going to be no's, but it all needs to be completed and to the best of their ability. And if they've lived in the home for 40 years, have them go back as far as they can remember and put anything they can remember. Okay. Any questions on the SPQ, Audrey?
Yeah. So the pest part on number 6 and the pest part on number 10, those
Yes.
both, one doesn't take over the other. You both have to answer them both. Okay.
So on number 6, the pest part. Oh, when you talked about when I said Delk or something.
Yes.
Yes. And then number 10. Yes. So,
So you
So
put
if
it there
they-
too, or is it different?
no, the first one would be if you had like a service. The second
Okay.
one talking about pests, you mean like if there were like bugs or like rodents or?
Yeah. Is that, I guess isn't that what we're referring to in number 6? but
In number 6, we're referring to a service. So maybe they
Right.
have, maybe I have a pool, maybe you have a pool, they have a pool guy and it comes out once a month or once a week, I
Mhm.
guess, pool guys. Or maybe they have a Delk comes out once a month. They
Right.
just want to notate that there.
right, but
Yes.
so then we would further do that in number 10.
Yeah, if there was an actual problem. So people don't always
Okay.
hire those companies because there's a problem. They hire them to prevent there ever being a problem. So it
Gotcha.
just depends on the situation.
Okay.
Any other questions? Because I can't see everyone. Nope, we're good. Okay, so make sure your clients, the biggest message is make sure these are filled out completely. Okay, they will sign them. It says if additional comments, the attached addendum contains an explanation of comments in response to specific questions. So this should be checked under number 18. If they are just very wordy and they have a lot of information to provide, check number 18 and add this additional addendum. Okay, another document. So that's the SPQ. Now we're going to touch on the transfer disclosure statement. So let me go to that one. This is the other kind of more tedious one, right? Because they have to fill out a lot of information. Some of them are more generic, but not these. These are specific to their property. Couple things on here. You need to make sure all of this at the top. Can you guys all still see my screen, the TDS?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You need to make sure all this information is complete. Okay, so don't leave it blank. It needs to be completed. Danny mentioned that sometimes she wants to have people do their inspections up front, which is a great way to take a listing, is have them do the inspections up front. You don't have to. Many buyers will not do it. I mean, sellers will not do it. But in the event they did, you do want to not notate that here. And it's right here where it says additional inspections, reports, or disclosures, or inspection reports completed pursuant to the contract of sale or receipt for deposit. So this needs to be filled out. If those in fact took place when you take the listing, okay? Or if they're present, maybe your client just did an inspection a week ago. They go, oh, we just had a pest inspection. And then you take their listing, ask them for the inspection. It's just a week old. Inspections are usually good, I think, for up to about 3 months. So if they have a recent inspection like that already handy, that's great. Now, if they tell you, well, yeah, we had a roof inspection in 2019, that is not relevant. It's 2021, almost 2022. So just kindly say, you know, that's probably not going to be a very good inspection anymore. It's not relevant to what's going on. Since then, we've had a lot of rain. We've had a lot of sun. We've had a lot of wind. We may have had hail, right? So roofs have had life on them since that last inspection. So it really doesn't apply anymore. You need to have something more current. Here's one key though. So as you go through this business, you're going to have return customers, right? So let's just say, let's see, Audrey, you just sold that house for your client. You represented the buyer. And so all this paperwork was presented to your buyer from the seller and everyone signed it, right? Well, let's just
Yes.
say in 2 years, your seller calls you up and says, your buyer rather is now the seller, calls you up and says, Audrey, we want to do another 1031. Will you sell this property on Mills? And you say, I sure would love to do that. You need to pull the reports from this current sale and include them in your package because you
Okay.
represented that seller 2 years ago. If that's the
Okay.
scenario. There, you were privy to the information then. And so that's going to come along with information you're going to provide to the new buyer, even though they're going to still need new reports, but
Mhm.
you already were a part of that sale. Okay.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Just so that's a heads up to everyone else as well. If your seller is like it's a vacant house, then they are not occupying the property. These little boxes need to be checked. Okay, don't leave them blank. They're either occupying it or they're not occupying it. So mark one of them. Your client needs to go through this and mark all the applicable boxes. Here's another key to that. We can't fill it out for them. They have to do it themselves. So recently I had a senior seller. She was 95 years old. She signed all her documents, but very weakly. I mean, you could tell very, very weak. She signed them. So she did have a daughter with her during a lot of our signing situations. So her daughter marked these for her, but I can't. As her realtor, I can't mark them. Okay, so please keep that in mind as well. We cannot fill these out for people. They have to fill them out, or they're someone representing them, like their relative has to fill them out. Okay, so they fill that out. See right here. So the top, the last one that says evaporative cooler, locking safety cover. And then it goes to like another section where it says exhaust fans. This, I see this blank so many times, and this is not supposed to be blank. So exhaust fans, someone tell me where exhaust fans are in a home.
Above
Bathrooms?
the oven, bathrooms, and fireplace.
Yeah, there could be all different places: bathroom, kitchen, fireplace, laundry room. So if they
Laundry,
need
yeah.
to be marked, if that's where, if they have those in their homes, they need to be marked. 220-volt wiring, where could that be in a home?
Laundry.
Kitchen, laundry room.
Laundry room, sometimes
Oven.
kitchen, sometimes in the garage.
Hot tub.
Yeah, thank you. Hot tub, yes. So again, these need to be completed. Fireplaces, where would those be?
Living room or bedroom, depending upon the house.
Yeah, it could be living room, bedroom, family room.
Family room.
Dependent, yes. So make sure that's marked, and you have to mark if it's a gas start fireplace, or if it's just a wood burning, you don't mark it. Roofs, that has to be checked. They all have roofs. Some may not be in good shape, but they all have them. Name me some roof types.
Fire resistant.
Comp shingle.
There you
Comp,
go.
Comp.
shingle, not fire resistant, but that's a good
Metal,
try.
tile,
Tile.
Aluminum, tar, yes. So those are some ideas you may write down. Tar, aluminum, what was it? Shingle,
Comp.
composite, tile, steel. I think there's steel, metal. I've seen metal. Yeah, those are,
There's solar now too, aren't there?
solar isn't the roof. It's just an addition to the roof.
no, they have solar tiles now.
Oh, they do? Okay, then. Sorry, I stand wrong.
But it's still
Solar
tile.
then, apparently.
Yeah, it's still tile.
Okay, so it's still tile.
Mhm.
But you know what? You might, because if it is such a specialized type, you might put solar tile if that's the case.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, and then the age. So they may not know the age of the roof. So see the little words here that say approximate? If they just bought the house 10 years ago and that the roof was there, the same exact roof that when they bought the house, they could put 10 approximate, because maybe they don't know it was whatever, right? Unless they had a report saying that the roof was about 25 years old when they bought it. So now what is it? 35, right? So that information all comes into play, and it's to the best of their knowledge. And remember, what are those other three words?
Disclose, disclose.
Yeah. Disclose. Thank you, Janet. Okay, so then let's see. Are there to the best of your seller's knowledge any of the above that are not in working operating condition? Yes or no? And then again, you describe if that's the case. Okay. Any questions on that?
Can I piggyback a little bit on that, Barbara?
Yes, please.
So as listing agents, we always want to be as professional as the most that we can be. And it is your job that when the seller does fill this out, when the seller fills it out, you actually go back through and you make sure that it's thorough and it's complete and everything. And so like, for example, I wrote an offer on a house the other day and she wanted us to waive all our contingencies, which I would have had no problem doing that. Although the disclosures, these ones here, everything said unknown, unknown. And then it said, to the best of seller's knowledge, is there anything that's not working? And there was yeses, but then no explanations. So trying to release contingencies when there were so many open-ended questions on the disclosure of the home made the buyers real reluctant to move forward. So be the professional of the listing agent and actually go through. And if you see then yes, make sure there's a definition. If you see unknowns throughout the place, do a little due diligence. So that way you can have really aggressive offers to present to your sellers.
Yeah,
So.
thank you.
Okay.
And you know what? Honestly, that was perfect what you said, Danny. But I want you to all, again, go back to the DIA, the first document I started with, and read it carefully. I want you, because the more I look at it, there is so much information here. Because Danny was in that situation. I don't know if this is the same one, Danny, where she called me and it was a VA loan, I believe. And they wanted her to remove contingencies. And honestly, I have a hard time with removing contingencies. But it was a VA loan. The people really wanted it. And of course, it's up to them. So they need to know what they're doing when they do that. Because by removing contingencies, they're giving up rights. Okay. So you do definitely need to explain that to them. And this kind of talks a little bit about that as well on this DIA. It's from the seller's perspective. But for a seller to ask someone to do that, it kind of gives them information on that. And if anyone does remove any of those contingencies, you do need to add against the advice of broker letter and have it signed by the person that's removing them. Okay. This is CYA big time. Okay. Because they can be all in love with that house today and they are willing to do whatever it takes to buy that house today. And then in 6 months, when something fails and they remove those contingencies, they're going to be calling you. And then they're going to be calling their lawyer. Okay. So in all my years in real estate, this didn't occur until the year 2021 that everyone was removing contingencies left and right. And so who knows the ramifications of it in 2022 and going forward. Okay. But I'm telling you guys, CYA, big time. Okay. Always provide that letter. Always have them sign it. Okay. I know it's an extra step. I know it's a pain. It's a PIA. No. But it's going to be something to protect you in the future and to protect our company as well. Okay. So it's 11:23. I'm going to go through those were the hardest ones. Oh, actually the Avid. I want to go over the Avid real quick. Okay. So let me go to the Avid. Did I finish? I actually didn't finish. I apologize. I got off thrown off. Right here. This is on page 2. Make sure this is all complete. Maybe when you're talking to your potential listing at the beginning and they mentioned something about, there's a little, our foundation, it kind of roll, when you go into the back bedroom, you can't put a marble there. It'll kind of roll downhill, or they say something to that effect. They need to note that here because you know it now too. Not just they know it, you know it. So make sure you remind them, oh, you mentioned something about the flooring. Can you go ahead and note that here? They're then going to go through these and they have to answer these yes or no to the best of their ability. In the state of California, in the city, mostly, not always in the country, in the cities areas, you will notice that most of us separate our homes by fences. So pretty much everyone is going to have a yes on one of these boxes. Okay. Because we all share, a lot of us share common fences. So make sure you read through these carefully so you know what they're signing, so that if you notice that they sign it incorrectly, you have them go back, review it, correct it, and initial it. Okay. So it is important because if they're just hustling through this and not really paying attention, no. And then you look at it and you go, oh my God, there is a common fence or something to that effect, then they need to note it. If you went to their house and the first thing they started talking about was the dog next door that never stops barking, or maybe they live by like UOP here and they say, oh my God, every Friday and Saturday night, the neighborhood is rocking and there's kids all on the streets and there's beer cans and there's beer cups and blah, 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 right? They're saying something to that effect. They need to note that there's something going on. Neighborhood noise problems or other nuisances, number 11. Doesn't mean it's always going to be that way, but they need to put that down because it's that way now. And they need to share that with the potential buyer. Okay, so it is important to take note of. And again, here's the place where they can note. And there's one other thing I want you to take note of right here. It's so there's some small print on these forms. One of them is right here by this asterisk where it talks about installation of a listed appliance, device, or amenity is not a precondition of sale or transfer of the dwelling. I'm not going to read through it, but I want you to make sure you take a look at it. And then somewhere else is some more fine print. Where was it? I can see it better on the paper. Hang on a sec. It talks about, D1 right here. The seller certifies, so this is important. The seller certifies that the property as of the close of escrow will be in compliance with section safety code of by having operable smoke detectors, which are approved, listed, and installed in accordance with the state fire marshal's regulations and applicable local standards. The seller certifies that the property as of the close of escrow will be in compliance with section 19211 of the Health and Safety Code by having the water heater tanks braced, anchored, or strapped. The reason I call that out is because it's small, and some of you have been having cash buyers, and maybe they buy a house, and the house they purchase cash, and no one really went ahead and double checked that the smoke detectors were working or that the water heater was braced and strapped. Guess whose responsibility that is? Ours. Okay, so when you have financing, the appraiser is usually going to double check that that is occurring because it's part of their job. But when you have a cash transaction, there's usually not an appraiser or someone going through and doing that. Maybe you've had home inspectors, they may have called it out. But if no one has done it, then you need to make sure that the water heater is braced and strapped, and you need to make sure that their smoke detectors are working and they're in the right places. Because if something happens while the new owner takes over, and guess who, again, they're going to call you. You're going to get called to the table for a reason that maybe someone was careless and didn't pay attention to. In the state of California, the seller is responsible for working smoke detectors, water heater being braced and strapped correctly, and for the carbon monoxide detector. Okay, they signed that on all their paperwork. You need to make sure they signed it and it's done, it's taken care of, because you also signed that same paperwork. Okay, so please be careful with those items, because it's in small print and people get, we all get careless. It happens. You all get comfortable, and then you get a little more careless. So try to remember at least the finer points, that those are 3 very important things that have to be addressed in a sale of a home: the water heater, braced and strapped, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. Page 3 of this document right here, it says the undersigned based on the above inquiry of the seller as to the condition, blah, blah, blah. See the box right here, the top box, it says see attached agent visual inspection disclosure. We call it our AVID form. This is the one I mentioned a little bit ago. We will only in this office mark that top box. Okay, don't ever feel inclined to mark any of the other ones. You don't need to. We require in our offices an agent visual inspection disclosure form in order to get paid. We need to complete them as when we represent buyers. We need to complete them when we represent sellers. Not all offices require them, but we do. So in our case, we will only mark this box right here, see attached agent visual inspection disclosure. Okay, you'll see that we sign it. The other agent does it, and you'll see other agents Mickey Mouse this all over the place. They'll either say they note no items for disclosure, or they'll say they note the following. They'll do whatever. That's fine. They can do whatever. We don't. Okay.
Okay.
And then we all sign this, and then we are done with that paperwork. Anyone, any questions on the TDS?
So one real quick, because we're going over this. So it looks like the TC had this sent over. So she did mark agent notes the following items avid to follow, but it obviously is going to be enclosed.
Yes, so that's okay. She just put, because she marked it, see attached, and then she says avid to follow. She just does that. And yes, it will be enclosed, but you have to complete the avid for it to be enclosed.
Right.
Right. So yes. So if you're doing this all electronically, what I usually do is, I mean, I do recommend you do it when you take your listing. It's the best time to do it. Okay. Because if you're the listing agent and you don't do it when you take your listing, and the inspection period is 10 days, you have to have it done within that 10 days. If you give it to them on day 12, they get an extra day, 3 to 5 days. I can't remember exactly. They get extra days for their inspection period. Thank you. Automatically. So basically you've increased their time to back out of the contract. Okay. So if you did it right when you take, if you do it right when you take the listing, you've already eliminated that possibility. It's already done. You're going to present it when the disclosures are presented or upfront, and you don't have to worry about it being a reason for them to back out. Okay. It's like that 3-day rule in cars. What is that, Danny? When you buy a car, don't you have 3 days to back out? Rescission.
The right of rescission.
Right of rescission. So it's kind of like a right of rescission for our client, for the buyers, if we don't give these documents to them in the timely manner. Okay. And this is one of them. The AVID is one of those. The SPQ is one of those. The TDS is one of those. And I think there's one more. The NHD, I believe, is one as well. Those all give a right of rescission. Okay,
Okay.
so very important. And that's why I'm
Robert, can I
now to
share
go
real
ahead and
quick?
listing. Yes.
From the buyer's side, I should have done my Avid when the inspections were being done, but it skipped to my mind. And so in talking to Barbara, she did recommend that. So if you haven't had a buyer, just something to keep in mind.
Thank you, Karen. I'm gonna just say add one more thing to that. So many of you have been in my boot camps and whatever over the course of the last couple of years. And I've said what Karen just said, but I'm gonna change that up just a little bit. And I think I did for you too, Karen, because I continuously attend training as well. And so in one of our recent trainings by Bob Brandt, the guy who's been saying stay out of court, he suggests that we do not do those avids with the inspectors there. So I think I mentioned to you, or maybe it was the next person, because maybe it was in between. Do it, like set it up so you try to set up your inspections so maybe they're all on the same day in the same couple hours. So like, let's just say you set up your inspections for 2 o'clock. I suggest you set up to go over there maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes earlier, like 1:30, make the appointment with the client to go with the seller to go over a little earlier. So you can complete your avid, you complete it before the inspector gets there, because now you're going to hear what the inspector says, right?
Yeah.
So now you're privy to that information, and it's better if you do it when you're alone or with another person. I hate going to classes by myself.
And ideally before you've
safe.
seen the reports. Yeah.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yes. So that's
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes. And honestly, I used to tell people, just go do it when the inspector's there. But I'm backing that up because now I've been to another training class and they've suggested we don't do it when the inspector is there. So just do it a little bit before, or maybe on a different day. Okay. And that's why, again, do it when you can even do it if your client is all, you're going to go show a property and they're really hot about this property. You could basically take a clipboard with an avid with you and start filling it out there. And maybe they don't buy the house, but if they do, you're already ready. So it's up to you how you want to run that. Okay. So we're at 11:34. I do have more of these to cover. So let me get out of here real quick. Is this helpful for you guys?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
So we can do it. We have a choice. So Beth is not able to do scripts today. I did send scripts out, but we can either continue with this or we can go into scripts. Which would you guys rather do?
Continue with this.
Continue with this. Okay, so we're going to go to the next document. So let me get back into share. Okay, so can you guys see my car forms?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay, so the next document we're going to go into is the avid. So I'm only going to touch on this briefly because I do have a video on this one, and some of you have already seen it. But let's just touch on it real quickly, and then when you get to the point where you need an avid or whenever you want, I believe all the success coaches now have the avid as well. The video, I think it's like 20 or 30 minutes, but I go through it pretty thoroughly. And you may have heard me say on there, I guess I need to redo some of these. You may hear me say, go ahead and do it when you're doing the inspections, but you've all heard me now kind of back that up a little and suggest that you do it before the inspector gets there. Okay, just to keep that clear. Make sure this is all filled out at the top. This is the avid, the agent visual inspection disclosure. In the recent class, he also said, it's not just the stuff you see, it's the stuff you sense. So let's just say you walk in a house and it just stinks. If you've been shown property, you've been there already. I mean, I would think by now. And maybe they had a cat in the house or a dog in the house, or maybe they just didn't keep house very well, or maybe they cooked something really bad last night. I don't know. You do need to kind of put that on there, that you noticed that there was, you noticed some
Odor.
An odor. Yeah. You don't have to be graphic. You just need to kind of make a statement, because maybe that odor is not going anywhere, especially if it was an animal, right? And now they've done their little jobs on the carpet or the wood or whatever. It's not going anywhere until they pull that carpet and probably do a really good remediation and repaint. So, you do need to note it. So please he did mention that about that like sensory thing about what you kind of might smell when you come into a house as well. It does right here. I want you to note California law does not require the agent to inspect the following: areas that are not reasonably normally accessible, areas off-site of the property, public records or permits. We never go check those, you guys. Most of you heard me say that. We do not go check on public records or permits. And common areas of planned developments, condominiums, stock cooperatives, and the like. Meaning, if it's a home in a gated community and there's a HOA and there's a pool and all that, we don't have to go check that stuff. Okay, we don't check the laundry room. We don't check any of that. So just so you know, we obviously do not climb on any roofs or into any attics. We don't crawl under any houses either. So pretty much visual. He also says we have to be very generic on how we put things. So if you see several nail holes or you even see protruding nails in the walls, you don't put that. You just might state that there are there's holes in the wall. So you want to be as generic as possible, yet state that you see something. Okay, so be very careful. We can't qualify it. There's one word you never use on this report. Who knows the word? You don't have to say it. You just tell me what the first letter is.
M.
Mold.
M. Yes. We never use an M word in these reports. Okay. If you don't know what that is, you can text me. We never use an M word on these reports because we are not qualified to distinguish anything that starts with an M on these reports. So you can put their staining on the wall or mark. You might put black marks on the wall, but you don't say what they are unless you are a scientist and you've already been to a lab and you've done all that. So most of us, I don't think, fit that category. So be very careful about that. And then you always, if you'll watch my video, and I will always bounce these back. I want every line filled out. It's either going to say something distinguishing about the property, or it's going to say N/A for not applicable because maybe it doesn't have a living room. It only has a family room, or it doesn't have, well, they all have kitchens. Maybe it doesn't have a dining room. So if it doesn't, you're going to put NA. It's not here, or none. Okay. But you are going to put some words on the lines. What does putting words on the lines show?
You've
we
acknowledged
looked at
that
it.
you've seen it.
Yeah, you've either seen it or you haven't because it doesn't exist, right? So you have to identify that. You always want to be specific about that. So I usually put NA or not applicable or nothing to note. I write nothing to note a lot on mine, nothing to note. Because maybe it's perfect, it's pristine. I don't see anything wrong. I don't smell anything funny. I would put nothing to note. Okay, so be very specific on that. Make sure you don't miss any lines. I like to put bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bedroom 3, or master, or maybe there's 6 bedrooms. Then I might double some of these up, or you can click on this little box right here that says see addendum for additional rooms. And then you get an addendum and you add more information because there's some big houses out there. This form may not, be able to accommodate all of that. So you want to put it. A couple other things I like to put on mine is if there's a swimming pool, I usually will identify if there's a safety fence around it or not, just because I want to make sure that I call it out. There was no child barrier fence around the pool. If there's a wood burning fireplace and I see that maybe you can still see the soot and you can see whatever remnants of the last fire they burnt or was. I also would recommend chimney be cleaned and inspected prior to use. No one's told, I just do that. I've learned that over the years. I don't know what Bob Brandt says about that, but I'm still going to put it because I want to make sure they understand that I recommend they clean it or inspect it before they use it. Okay. I don't want their house to burn down. I think he's probably addressed that before as well. I also put, maybe you drove over railroad tracks before you got there. I'm going to put railroad tracks located in the neighborhood, or local school located down the street on other home backs up to railroad tracks. Home is located near manufacturing company, because that might make a lot of noise or a lot of traffic or something. Yes, Karen.
Barbara, when you were talking about the swimming pool, if it's If it's a common area, you don't put that on your
No,
inspection,
no, because
right?
I don't
Okay.
do it about a common area because again, and common areas should have a fence around it. But again, we don't have to inspect common areas. But if it's
Okay.
in that backyard of the house they're buying, I'm definitely gonna put something.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Other observed or known conditions, I will put barking dog behind located in fence, you know, next door or something. Or I might put lots of cars in the street. I've been in neighborhoods and I couldn't find a place to park because there's cars everywhere, you know. It's just a regular neighborhood, but for some reason, everyone has 10 cars in their front of their house. I might put that because someone may not want to really notice that when they get there and then they move in and now they can't even get in their own driveway because there's so many cars in the neighborhood. I'm going to put it. And you'll see right here where we sign and fill this all out and that tells the date of inspection. So you're going to sign this as the person who performed the inspection. You're going to sign it twice right there at the top. And then you're going to sign it as the person representing the brokerage and who's being represented. Danny, you have anything to add? Maybe we lost you.
No, I'm here.
Just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's the main thing is don't get descriptive, right? You don't know that it's an odor from a dog. So you can't say dog odor present. Even though you see a dog house, you can't get descriptive with this. That's the main thing. And that everything is just visual. So you just say odor observed, you know, something along those lines. And that's the main thing, because you could be opening up a whole nother door that you really don't know about.
Yep. I have two other people raise their hands. I can't see who.
Rana and Audrey.
Rana, you go first. Rana?
We can't hear you, Rana.
Okay,
Nope.
how about Audrey?
Okay, so on this home, just an example. Okay, so they put wood in the entry kitchen, dining room, hallway. It doesn't squeak, it doesn't move, but on some steps you take, you can feel it like maybe certain pieces aren't glued down all the way or something. What would I
Okay.
put for that?
I would put, so it's,
I'd put maybe uneven flooring or gap in flooring.
or flooring is loose
Mm-hmm.
and wherever.
Okay.
Hallway flooring appears loose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Okay.
Did Rana come back?
Rana, if you want to put it in the chat. Carmela has a question also.
Yes, Carmela, yes.
What was that last part you said, Barbara, about the wording for the building or warehouse, or what was it that you said?
Home is located near a manufacturing company, or home is located near an industrial
Okay.
company or something like that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Because like, for instance, in Stockton, in North Stockton off of Hammer Lane, there's a steel mill. And then there's a whole bunch of residential homes right behind it. A development was built, gosh, a long time ago now, 10, 20 years. But at certain times of the day, you hear a big boom. So whenever I sold a home out in that neighborhood, I identified that there was an industrial company located in the neighborhood, basically. Because I just want them to know they're going to hear a boom every day. I didn't identify what they're hearing or why. I just know that they're going to hear it. So I did it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying.
Homes located, you're going to find, you know, as we continue to grow in the valley and everywhere, homes are going to be backing up to the freeway. I'm going to address that. Home backs up to freeway. That's it. I'm not saying, I'm not really qualifying if it's good or bad. I'm just stating it because some people could care less. They've lived near a freeway their whole life. You know, that makes them that helps them go to bed at night. I don't know. I'm not, but personally, I wouldn't want to live there. so I just want to identify it. Okay, so that I think will cover the Avid. Let me get out of the Avid.
Barb, real quick.
Yes.
This is my aunt's home. I need to put that somewhere, correct?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Wait, did we not put that on your listing that you're related?
I haven't yet, no.
Okay, so in the list, so thank you for bringing that up if I forgot that. So I would do an addendum. We should do actually, we're going to talk about that form in a minute. But yes, you do
Okay.
need to note, anytime you are related to a seller or a buyer, you have to note it on the contracts. On the listing agreement, it should be noted. If you have the listing, it should be noted in the private remarks. You should note it when you do your counter offer. You should know, if you're representing a buyer, you should note it on your offer. We always have to identify that we are related to somebody.
And in Metro List.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Right.
what I mean in the private
That's
remarks.
the
In
remarks and
Yeah.
manifest. Okay.
Rhonda
right.
had a great question, Barbara, that she had stated that one agent was attaching photos to support his advid.
Mm,
So we were not told that we have to do that, so I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it either, just because that's why you have inspections. They attach photos in their inspection reports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't do that, Ronna. We don't need to do that. So I'm gonna cover this form real quick because this kind of just came up with what Audrey was saying, and this is something I wanted to make sure I brought you to your attention as well. And I don't know, I haven't talked to my team about this, so I don't know what they know about it. So you may, I don't know if you use it or not, Danny. But
Yeah,
a couple of weeks
if I
ago,
change
Chris
anything.
Thompson, our the broker in the Stockton Market Center, sent a note out about this. So this document, it says, it's called, can you guys see where it says amendment of existing agreement terms?
yes.
Okay, so this document, it looks like it was 12/17, December of 2017. I can't remember where I was then. I guess I was at Keller. But I never really used this form, and I've never really taught this form. But like I have told you, I continue to learn as well. Chris put out a memo a couple weeks ago saying that we need to use this form. So a lot of us use either an amendment or an addendum when we do things, when we add something to our contracts. But this is the form that she told the Stockton Market Center. So I'm going to say both of us, both market centers should be using amendment of existing agreement terms. So if you have something to amend to the terms, you have to use this form, and you can attach it to the purchase agreement or any other document. So this is where you might put, Audrey, you might say, listing agent is notifying, is making, let's see, this listing agent is related to seller. I guess you could just put that, period. Listing agent is related to seller, period. So that's just you're just putting it out there. Your and then let's see. So this one, actually, maybe I'm wrong here. We won't do it on this. Back up.
No.
Audrey, no, because of what it says here. This is where it confuses me. So on in your case, Audrey, it would just be an addendum, regular addendum, number one. Okay. But if you're in contract, some of you have been in contract and something changes within the contract. This is where you're going to use this. Instead of an addendum, you would use an amendment of existing agreement terms. And this is where you would put it, and it has to be accepted. And so you, like, say you're representing the buyer, and the buyer is saying, seller to credit buyer $2,000 for non-recurring closing costs, whatever. The buyer would check this, and they would write that on the words up there. The buyer would check it, and then the seller, and then they're going to give the seller time to agree to it. And then the seller would accept it right here, or vice versa. This is the correct form we should be using on existing term amendments.
Oh, so if we get a credit after we negotiate for repairs, instead of writing it up on an addendum, you want us to write it up on there. Seller to credit NCC and RCCs.
Yes, and because it's a new term, or it's something you've now negotiated. You're trying to negotiate for your existing contract. So yes, even though when you look at some of those documents, it says addendum attached. This is what we're adding. Amendment.
So
if you know go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so let's say we take a listing at 550, right? And then we get in and they end up reducing the price because they overpriced it, right? And so then we have to do a price adjustment. Would we use this to say sale price to be?
No, that's going to be a modification of terms.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, that's a different one. This is when there's already a buyer and seller involved, and they've already agreed on something, and now something has changed. So they're going to amend it. They're going to make a change to it.
Got it.
They're not so if you think about the words, amend means you're making a change. Addendum, it's add, ADD.
Okay.
See the difference? If you think about, break down the word. So in this case, what you just said, Danny, it would be the modification. But if you're already in a contract and you have to make a change to the contract, you're amending something they've already agreed to, and they both have to agree to it again. Okay. All right. So I wanted to bring that up because that came out a couple of weeks ago. So that's that one. Now we're going to look at the market conditions advisory. So
Barbara, there's a couple questions. I have my hand up, and so does
Oh, I'm
Carmela.
sorry. Oh, okay. I
that's
don't always see that. Yeah. Okay.
Mine was real quick. When you're related to the seller, I've noticed a lot of people put that on the MLS. Or do we have to put it on there too?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
you have to actually put it on there. Okay.
Yes, you need to put it in, only in the private remarks.
Okay.
Not on the marketing, but on the private remarks, yes, you do. You need to notify everyone up front. And then you're going to notify them when you get into contract as well.
Okay.
Because who sees the private remarks? Only we do,
Agents.
right? So let's just say you took a listing, you're related to the seller, and now you got an accepted offer, or you get an offer. You need to counter them back and notify the potential buyer that the seller is related to you.
Okay. And it's also the same thing real quickly with the death. I've noticed those come up in the private remarks. So not only do we have to be told about that, but how does that work?
So that would be a little bit different. So let me just get out of here so I can see people. So that one's different. So that, to me, that's a private remark that I would then notify my client. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we're going to go be seeing 123 Bonnie Lane today. I just want to let you know in the private remarks, it says that one of the previous owners passed away in the house. Is that going to work for you?
Okay, so the selling agent really needs to put that in the private remarks. I mean, is that like something we have to do, or is it optional?
I think they should. Here's why.
Yeah,
you could get all the way in the contract. You could get accepted, and suddenly you get handed the SPQ, and it says someone died in the house in the last 3 years, and your buyer says, "Heck no, I'm not moving into that house. That's heebie-jeebie," right? So different cultures are going to react that way. So why wait till you're 14 or 10 days, 7 days in, you've gotten the disclosures, and now you know, right?
Okay. So those are the two
most
things.
definitely, that's something you want to let people know up front. So the only way we can let them know is if it's in the private remarks, and then we have to address it with our client and let them know, because then maybe Sonia says, you know what, I really liked that house, but I don't think it's going to work for me. Let's not go see it. Why go see it?
You do it up front. Great. Thank you.
And I think there was someone else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Carmela.
Michael Linville. Hey,
Mike.
Hey, Barbara. My question goes back to the Avid. So the listing that I just took today, actually, it has multiple, it has a mobile home, it has a home, it has a shed, and it has a carport area. So like 4 different structures. So do I have to fill out 4 different Avids, or just one Avid and make a note? Because the other thing that makes this unique is there's a tenant that occupies 3 of the structures, and they don't want us to go in and take pictures of that. So I'm like, I can't inspect 3 of the 4 buildings.
Wow. Okay. So I would definitely put something about that in your private remarks so that any potential agent bringing a buyer knows that. And then, I think you do need to somehow describe what you're seeing in those structures, not on the carport or whatever you said, but in the physical house. If it's like a mobile home, you do need to probably have an Avid on that, or it'll be an extension. I would just do an addition to that, where I check the box and then you do an addendum, and then I would say mobile home, and then I would go through that probably. Because the primary residence is what's being sold, and that's just an add-on that could be moved away, or is it attached to the ground?
It's attached to the ground. So there is a primary residence that can be sold.
So on the ad bid, there's exterior structures.
I think you might want to call Rachel on that one.
Okay.
I think that would be better, just to ask her exactly how she would want you to handle that.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Just to be safe. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. I'm going to go. Yes.
I'm sorry, real quick. If the death has been more than 3 years, should we say it anyway, or?
Well,
what are your thoughts?
So more than 3 years, like I just sold a house and apparently he died like 17 years ago. And so we didn't say, because
Okay,
the rule is 3 years.
right.
So I'm going to speak out of both sides of my mouth here. I'm going to speak as an agent and a person, right? Not
Right.
just an agent, a regular person. So if it's like people, we have lots of old homes, right? People die in homes all the time. And
Mhm.
40 years ago, 50 years ago, we don't know. My house is old. I have no idea what's happened in this house. But if it was probably like, if there was ever a violent or a tragic incident, you might want to disclose something about it.
Okay.
If it's
All right.
just natural causes and it's past 3 years, no.
Don't worry about it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. And that's what I just stated was my personal thing about the tragic part.
Mhm.
But the rule is 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Because the neighbors are going to talk about it if it's something else.
Right.
I mean, someone else is trying to join for some. Okay. Okay. We're going to now go to another document. So let me go back. This is, can you guys see market conditions advisory?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. This is a form that's been around for a while. And I noticed it comes up when you do a against the advice of broker document. This pops up. So you not only have to do the against the advice of broker when you have like someone removes contingencies. This pops up. You also have to attach this form. This is a form that basically is notifying the buyer that market goes up, the market goes down. Currently, what kind of market are buyers buying in?
Seller's market.
A seller's market. Consequently, the prices have gone through the roof, correct?
Yes.
I think of all the people a year ago, we were talking about Mountain House, and then 6 months in, the houses had gone up 100,000 and people were throwing an extra 100 at it, right? Crazy market. So that's the reason for a form like this, to notify them the market goes up, the market goes down. You're currently buying in a buyer's market. I mean, a seller's market, and that's what you want to do. That's your prerogative. So this is another, I would say, definite CYA document that we have to sign. And it is part of our package of what gets signed. So just so you know what it is, I encourage you to read it. Okay. It's just signed by the parties. It's generic, but it's important. This one is an important document as well. This is called the verification of property condition. So those of you who've been in escrow and have closed a deal know that 5 days prior, your TC was probably saying, hey, get me the verification of property condition document. This is it. You have within the 5 days prior to close of escrow, you're supposed to take a final walkthrough of the property with your client. This is when you represent a buyer. Okay, so we generate this. Most of the disclosures come from the seller side, but this is one we generate from our side. And our offices require it in order for you to get paid. So in this one, you would have 123 Bonnie Lane, the property address. And basically you walk through the home with your client, and the home is supposed to be in the same condition as when they originally fell in love with it and wanted to write an offer. Okay. So it says property is in substantially the same condition as on the date of acceptance of, and seller has completed any repairs, alterations, replacements, or modifications as agreed to by the buyer, and the following exceptions. So let's just say you had a house, there was a request for repair, they had to fix something. So as you go through the house, you make sure that yes, they did, the toilet is no longer loose, or there is no longer a leak under the sink. Okay, so you've checked that the repairs were done and it's good. So you do not have to fill out anything on these lines here. You just need to have your buyer sign it and acknowledge that the house is in the condition they expected it to be in. Now, let's just say you walk through the house and they did those repairs, but oops, it looks like someone just shot a BB hole through one of those windows, and it wasn't there when we made the offer, and it wasn't there when we had our inspections, and now it's there. So then what you need to do is you need to document that. There's a BB hole in the front window. It was not there when offer was accepted. And you need to get back on the phone and call that listing agent and say, hey, we just did our walkthrough and here's what we found. Can you please reach out to your seller and let them know we need to have this taken care of? Okay, because your buyer should not be expected to now assume that window with the BB hole. It's still the seller's home and they should fix it. So that's where you would fill this out. Yes.
So Barbara, in my selling of the listing home that I had, seller was remaining in place.
Mhm.
So the walkthrough, I believe, was done, but it was done not because we were doing the 5-day before escrow, but because one of the purchasers hadn't seen the home yet, and so they were just showing him the new home, right? Physically, he had seen it by a video. But in this situation, they stayed in the home now for almost 2 months. So it became, the landlord rental situation. So how does this form come into play at this point?
So we also received a notification from Chris a couple of weeks ago that when those situations occur where the seller remains in the property, you need to do another walkthrough when you transfer keys.
Okay.
Because the home should be left clean and free of anyone's debris. And basically the condition that they expected it to be in, when they, it should be the same condition as when they did that 5-day walkthrough prior to close of escrow. When they actually get the house and it's now vacant, it should be in the same condition.
So is it the buyer's agent responsible, or am I responsible?
The buyer's agent is responsible.
Okay.
To do the walkthrough.
Okay.
Yes. And we need to ask them to give us the form. So I just had this situation, and honestly, I didn't get the form back. So I was trying to do different things, and I called, I asked her for it, specifically asked for it, said it more than once on the phone. Please send me this. We're transferring keys today. Please send me this. I never have gotten it. But so how would I do this in the future? Because I need a caller actually, but what I would do in the future is I would send over this form and have it completed. So all they need to do is sign it and make it as easy as possible.
Okay.
Because our office wants it.
Yes. Okay.
And I didn't handle it that way. So lesson learned. I will send it over myself from now on. Make sure it gets done. Okay.
Yep.
Audrey
Thank
has
you.
a question also.
Yes, Audrey.
Okay, so repairs weren't made, credit was given.
Okay.
So
So then the
You
house
put
is
it-
exactly how you expected it to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So you would not fill out this form. I mean, they would not have filled anything out on these lines.
Right.
Nothing's blank. And they would have just acknowledged it. Now there's
Okay.
one situation. So this happened in a house as well. The buyers were in the Bay Area and they didn't have time to come and do their final walkthrough. And so they waived the right to conduct a final inspection. And they checked the box right here where it says 2, and they sign it. So there's an either or. They either have to come and do their final walkthrough, or you have to represent your buyer and do your final walkthrough, or they waive it. So I've also had a situation where I represented a buyer and he was in another country. He bought basically sight unseen from another country. So in that case, he was going to use it, I think, as a rental. So in that case, I went and I did the final walkthrough for him. And I just put on there, agent did final walkthrough representing buyer who was out of the country. And then I sent it to him, home was fine or something. And then I had him sign it. Because he didn't want to waive it and he wanted me to do it. So I just noted that I did it for him.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Is that how you segue into the next form?
Is that going to segue into the next form you said?
Yeah, that was a joke. The FERPTA form.
Oh, actually, and did I put it up there? I think I did. Hang on. That's funny. Let's see. You're learning, Audrey. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. So there's a form you also will see. And I hope I saved it. I started to, but I could have got called away. It looks like I didn't. So it's called the FERPTA form, or it's called what's the other one, Danny? There's another word.
Seller's affidavit of non-foreign status.
Thank you. Seller's affidavit of non-foreign status. So in order for us to get paid, one of these 2 forms has to be filled out. So years ago, there was the FERPTA, it's called FERPTA, F-I-R-P-T-A. We would fill this form out and I would have to present it to my clients, and I would basically, they had to put their social on there. It was the most uncomfortable thing, especially in the world we live in where, we don't want to give our socials out because people steal your information. Now, the way it's usually handled is title will take care of that form. And then they will send a form called say it again, what's it called? Janice, I mean, Audrey.
So it's affidavit of non-foreign status.
Yes, in title, they will sign the seller's affidavit of non-foreign status at title. And when we get our closing packages, that will come in the closing package. And then that will be uploaded to our system by the market center coordinators. So we used to be calling the ladies at the front desk, the DOFIs, Director of First Impression. Hated that. As of yesterday, they are now called the market center coordinators.
Okay.
So we don't have to call them that anymore. So anyway, they will handle uploading that for you because they get it in the closing package that comes to the office when it's all said and done. Okay, did I confuse everyone? No. So luckily it's a form, it's something required, but it's not a form we have to physically deal with because it's being dealt with at title, which is very nice. It was very uncomfortable form. Which leads me to another segue real quick. So let me see, it's right here. Hang on a second. So I did send this in your attachments last night. So maybe some of you took a look in August, and I'm just pulled up the first one I saw. This is the Stockton Market Center. I also sent one for the Modesto Market Center.
Barbara, we can't see your screen.
Oh, thank you. Oh, we went really over. Okay, I'm going to end with this. So let me just cover this really fast. Sorry, you guys. Okay, so this, can you see it now? It says escrow checklist.
Yes.
Okay, basically, this is what everyone, your transaction coordinator, see all the documents in red? These are all the documents that are required during a transaction that need to be uploaded to the command system in order for us to get paid. So I did send this. It's also in all your orientation booklets that I sent a package out of it a couple weeks back. And you get them, those of you new have also received it in those booklets. But this is just for information. So you kind of understand all that is required of us in order to get paid. So all the red are like standard. And then the ones in black are the ones that are if applicable, right? So they don't, like, we don't all have trusted sales, or we don't all have LLC sales. So some of them don't apply, but if they do, you can see they're also identified here. So I sent this out so you guys can be aware of situation and understand that this is there's a lot of documentation that we have to provide in order to get paid and in order to be in compliance, so that, you know, at the end of the day, if someone does come and try to sue you or us for any reason, we want to have all this done correctly so that we have a leg to stand on. This is our protection to not be sued and not, you know, someone take all our livelihood from us. So this is really important, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention. One other thing I want to bring to your attention real quick. You'll see right here, it says new home builder referrals. So when you have a new home builder sale, you're fortunate enough to walk someone into a new home development, and they decided to buy a new home and signed a contract. So you'll see there's just these 3 documents right here that are required. I think you do still need to go in and create the opportunity and command and some of that information, but otherwise the new home people take care of all the paperwork. So you're very fortunate. And that leads me to something else. So effective, we are now going to be, so if you are fortunate enough to do that, and some of you already know about this and some of you don't, because everyone's comes in at different times, but the PC, we are all here training you. Do you see Danny sitting in on our class today? Krista sits in as well. I think she's not feeling well, but you know, the success coaches will sit in with you and help you to help. And she's helped me a lot today. I really appreciate it. So we are here to help you, and we're helping you learn how to run your business from the get-go. So as a result, we've also determined that we also help teach you how to go about getting into the new home sales arena with your clients, because you have been learning this and then suddenly you're showing your client 10 homes because we've been showing you how to do all that, and they decide to go buy a new home built. And then you, if you're fortunate enough, you get a commission check. So what the program is now going to do is we are also going to be part of that commission check, because we weren't always in the past. And it's kind of, we started thinking about it, and it really wasn't quite fair to the program. So now on those commission checks, you all know that a 10% is taken out of your commissions as we help you through your learning process. But now in going forward on those commission checks for new home builds, we will be doing a 7% to the productivity coaching program. Because in all fairness, we've been teaching you all along. You lucked out. You got to walk someone in, not do much except those 3 documents and get someone into contract. So, but you've been part of a program that's been training you to do all your facets of your business. So now we are going to also be included in that as well. So I just wanted to make that announcement. I'll send it out in an email as well, so y'all know. And we're not doing the whole 10. We're just doing 0.7, just something for our time and efforts as well. Because I know Danny was at the office later than 5 last night. We all work lots of late hours to help you. And that's what we signed up for, and we love it. We do. I hope you all understand. We really enjoy helping you, and we enjoy seeing your success. It's like, you're our babies. So we really love seeing when you achieve success, because it's exciting to us as well, because your success is our success. So we have now implemented that into the program. Just wanted to make that announcement. So thank you for staying. I know it's been a long meeting. I apologize for going over so much, but I hope it was beneficial. And I'm sorry we've taken so long to get back to these disclosures. Some of you have been kind of running blind on them. I apologize. But we'll do this a little more frequently, maybe every couple months, because we all come in at different times and you all have different questions as you're learning. I see 2 hands up. So Janice, I'm going to start with you real quick.
I think you've already answered my question, Barbara.
Okay, thank you. Adriana.
On the contract, I did see something about the 50% if we don't attend.
Yes. So thank you for bringing that up. So I've been doing this almost 5 years. So over the years, I've had people come to, we signed them in, they were so excited, they got their license. And then we didn't hear from them again, to be honest. It was like January 1, everyone joins the gym, and February 1st, there's only 5 cars in the parking lot, right? It was kind of like that mentality. They still paid their $30 or $120 a month, all that, but never hear from them again. 6 months later, they call me. Oh my God, my mother wants to sell their house. Well, they haven't participated in their own training at all. And trust me, this is at all. I actually had 3 calls like that in the last couple of weeks, in their own training at all. But they have a real estate license, and someone knows they're a realtor and they want them to help them. So because they haven't been participating, what we wrote into the contract, and honestly, none of you are part of that because you are here, but there's a lot of you out there that aren't. We are now going to charge them 50% to help them, because basically they're going to shadow us. They know nothing. They just have a license. It's like, they have a license, they have a license to be dangerous, basically, for themselves, for our company, for their client, because they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. And it happens a lot. It happens more than you know. And it takes a lot of time. It's really hair pulling time for all of us, because it's like, oh my God, you want to sell this house tomorrow, and you want us to open a hole in your head and pour everything we've been teaching into it. So consequently, we will charge those people 50%. We're not here to take people's money. Michael Linville is in this program right now, and he is graduated from the program. He has done what he wanted to. He feels comfortable and confident, but he's still learning. And we're not charging him anything to be here. He's here, and we love that. I have people like that all the time. And so, I appreciate that you're here, and I appreciate that you're still learning. You want to learn. That's great. Because sometimes you can get 3 deals real quick, but you don't know it all. I don't know it all. I just told you 2 or 3 times today I learned something in the last 3 weeks, right? So we're here to hold your hand until you feel comfortable and confident without us holding your hand. And then we will let you fly. And, then the thing is, because we get new people every day, we're not going to be answering the phone and helping you at midnight or 11 or 8. We might answer a question or 2, but you're kind of on your own. And that's okay. But you hopefully feel comfortable and confident with that. Or you can come to class like this and ask questions. That works too. But we're just not going to be there for you, because we have to be there for the other people who really need us. I hope you all understand that. Any questions on that? Yes, Janae.
I don't have a question on that, but I sent you a text, Barbara. The links that are being sent out. So you sent a link to this meeting in an email last night, but the one that came out from the Stockton office this morning is completely different.
Oh.
So I was sitting there going, I text you like, are we having the meeting today?
Oh, really? Okay. So I'll check with the front desk. They're being very helpful, but they don't have the right link, it sounds like. So I will get them to have, I'll make sure they have the right link. Thank you for letting me know.
No problem.
Rena?
So what does the process look like when you feel comfortable and you want to get out of the success coach program?
You just need to speak with your success coach. In your case, you could speak with me because I've been still helping you. And
Wait,
yes.
so are you going to not be my success coach anymore?
Well, I am. Beth is now the stock. I don't know if you were here when we announced this last week. Beth is now the success coach for Stockton. So I'm still overseeing the program, but we have more than 100 people now. And so, it's a lot, and we are just trying to help you to the best of our abilities. And with more people coming in, helping, more ideas, Danny's implemented a lot of great things. And so the short answer to that, I guess, I'm sorry, would have been, I won't help you on your next deal. Beth will. How's that? Unless you feel comfortable and confident that you don't need us, then it would, but otherwise it would be Beth. And Beth is always very helpful as well.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I actually trained Beth. Beth was in this program, one of the first people in the program. I trained Krista. And Renee's been a realtor longer than I have. And then Danny came in, and I think she went to boot camp, but then Danny joined a team. So then Danny learned from that way. But we all talk, we meet every week. We are a team. I really feel very fortunate. I have a great team. I really do. I've been very blessed because it kind of happened by accident, and it kind of happened really quick. But yeah, we work really well together, and we really want the best for all of you, and we want you all to be successful.
Thank you.
And the main thing is we're just here because we just don't want you to be a liability to your business and to your clients. And so, that's how we pour into you to make sure that you have all the tools necessary to do what you need to do when you do fly. And so,
yeah, I mean, it's a really cool idea that Keller Williams came up with, because honestly, we get people all the time that came from another company, and they didn't get any direction, and we're here to hold your hands. How many times, Karen, did we talk on the phone? I mean, Raina, how many times have we spoken on the phone? When you guys are in it, when you're in the game, we're in the game with you. Mm-hmm. And Janice, I mean, we want to help you. We want it to work because here's what happens, and we do have to charge, because think of it this way. I've been a successful agent for a long time, but as this program has evolved, I don't market anymore. I don't really go out and find my clients anymore, because I'm doing this and it works for me in this stage of my life. But I mean, this takes time. Time is money, right? And so this works for me, and because of the program has grown so much, it really does. It's still providing me the economic means I want to feel successful in my life, right? But people like Danny, I just explained to you earlier in the day how her business has just been tremendous, but she's still making time for those of you. And so we're fortunate enough that we have now four success coaches, so that they can all still stay successful in their own business, and I can help oversee it all and do these trainings, and they can help you be successful in your business as well. So Gary Keller says 7 streams of income. This has created a different stream of income. I do still have onesie twosie clients out there. I'm fortunate. I've helped them over the years. They're calling me. So I'm not trying to compete against anyone, but I'm not going to sell them no either. If they've been my client for the last 19 years, I'm going to help them. So I actually have 2 like that right now. And I got to fit them in, just like you have to time block, just have to do all the same things. But I'm still here for you guys, and Danny's still here for you. Like I said, she was working late last night. So I hope it works for all of you. I hope you're all happy and feeling. And if you're not, let us know. We will fix things when we have to.
That's probably the biggest I would say, is always be open to give us feedback, because if we don't know if something's broke, then we don't know how to fix it. So please give us feedback, positive and constructive. So then that way we can tweak our program as we continue to grow and everything. Because that's the main thing. You know, when I got into this business in 2006, I got with a broker and he literally said, there's a phone book, there's a desk, good luck. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Right. And so to have this advantage that you guys have to the coaching and to pour into somebody is exponential. It really is. And there's huge value in that. So always feel free to, you know, anybody can call me, shoot me a text and be like, Danny, you stink at this, fix it, you know, whatever, but I'm open to it. You guys know me. So tell me how I can pour into you more to help you guys succeed where to the level you want to succeed.
I would like to jump in here. I was doing an open house on Saturday and this person came in wearing dressed down clothing and wearing a mask and a ponytail, had no idea who it was. But guess who it was? Once she started talking, I knew who it was. And it was Danny. You never know who's going to walk into your open house.
Oh my God, Danny.
Hey, I'm a surprise. I'm a creeper. I got to keep you guys on your toes.
That's good, Danny. That's a good story. Thank you, Janice. Okay, I think, are we at a good part to say goodbye? Okay.
Good job, Barbara.
Thank you.
Next Wednesday in the Mantique office. I hope some of you will come and share lunch. I don't know what they're bringing, but at least we can all kind of be together. And it's a very nice office if you've never been there. So come by and see us next Wednesday.
I love to eat. I'll
Yeah,
be
we
there.
all have to eat, right? Okay.
Great
Have
job,
a good
Barbara.
day. Bye,
Great
guys.
job.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.